All right, so now that you know the basic foundation of how to get a girl, how to get good at this, the question is, how do you implement it? How do you make it become a part of you, and how do you turn what you've learned into actual results?
We spent a long time figuring out the fastest way to get good. A lot of people are so overwhelmed by all the information that there needs to be some sort of system in place to implement everything you learn.
What you're about to hear is the culmination of a ton of research and development that went into figuring out the best system to get good really, really fast. Again, it's all about taking action. You're not going to get any results unless you take action. So we're about to tell you how to take action and how to create a system for yourself so that you can guarantee your success. Without the implementation phase, which we're about to show you, everything you learn in Project Go and the God Mode Pack is going to be useless. So now I'm going to let you listen to a podcast we recorded on how to get good really, really fast and create that system for yourself.
This is an hour-long podcast, so make sure you take a lot of notes and you pay attention because this is so important. This is going to be the difference between you knowing what to do and actually doing it.
Hey, what's up everyone? And welcome to this semi-exclusive podcast.
It's pretty exclusive.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about basically how to become good really, really fast. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but we found through years and years of doing this, the one best way that can never be beaten by any other strategy.
You know what?
Technique.
I know you just said there's a lot of ways to do it, but I really think this is the only way to do it.
So the reason we got to this point in terms of how we were thinking to set up this podcast is we get emails and requests all the time from people who want to take a boot camp with us. And we stopped doing boot camps a while ago because it's kind of inefficient. You know, we have this huge audience of people around the world who want to take a boot camp, but we're only in LA. And also, every time we do a boot camp, we can only take on 3 people at a time. I mean, we could take on more, but that would just decrease the quality of the boot camp. So we're limited to location, we're limited in time, and we're limited in the amount of people we can take on. And I think people want a boot camp because they don't know how to structure their own lessons in teaching themselves, basically. They don't know how to go out and learn everything there is to learn about pickup, at least not fast enough. So that's one of the reasons why we did this podcast today, to put you on somewhat of a plan. You know, just like if you want to get buff or if you want to lose weight, you go on a workout regimen or a diet. We want to put you on a plan and give you the foundation to start giving yourself, essentially, a boot camp. Now, the second reason that we did this podcast is we took a survey a little while back that told us 80% of people that are subscribed to Project Go. Okay, this is not even surveying people that are on YouTube or are just watching our YouTube videos. This is just people subscribed to Project Go. They're really happy with it and they love the content and they're learning a lot. But one of the questions really, really bothered us. And that was, how often are you approaching and meeting new women? And the results were 80% of guys subscribed to Project Go are not approaching women, are not meeting any new girls in their life.
They're not meeting random women. They might be watching the videos and applying it to, I guess, their social circle or girls that they know, but they're not going out there and approaching. And based on my experience, going out there and approaching is what gets you good. It is what gets you laid the most, if that's what you want. And it's really the only way you're going to get what you want out of your dating life, because you have an enormous pool of girls to practice on.
I think one of the reasons that people don't go out is because they don't see immediate results. It takes time to learn this shit, just like it takes time to learn any skill. And I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but I kind of understand where they're coming from because I used to be in that position myself. But before we get to this huge secrets that we've developed of how to get really good really fast, I want to go over the types of guys I think there are in terms of people who get into pickup, people who get into self-improvement. Okay, so the first one is guys who learn really, really fast, and they see improvement almost every single day that they go out. They just pick up everything we say, and they understand it, they apply it right away, and because of that, they internalize everything. It's not just information in their brain anymore. It's not just being stored there. It becomes a part of who they are. A lot of guys who come on our boot camp actually fall into this group because we've taught them how to learn really fast.
And the fact that they're even on a boot camp in the first place shows us that they are willing to implement things very quickly.
Yeah. So if you're a part of this group, you're probably seeing exponential growth week after week, and you probably already know this secret weapon of ours. You probably are already doing it in one way or another. So that's the first category of guys, and that's the best group to be in. Okay, so the second category of guys that, in my opinion, is guys who are going out and not improving or improving really, really slowly.
I think these are the guys who use canned material, personally. I feel like they've learned through books, they've mustered up the courage to kind of go out, but then they have all these lines that they learn from these books, and that's why they're not progressing, because they only use these lines and that's all they know.
That's definitely a number of guys who fall into this category. Another one is just they don't know how to implement what they learned, and they don't know how to put into action and how to learn really, really fast. Mm-hmm. And this is the category that, well, I actually fell into the third category, which I'll go into next. But eventually I became a part of this category where I was going out and I was improving really, really slowly. Excuse me. And I think the main reason is they don't know how to learn it. They don't know how to implement what they've learned. They're trying to, but they don't know the best way to do it. Or
they just implement it much too slowly. And if you implement things slowly, you learn slowly. You get better slowly. But if you implement things quickly, it's common sense. You get better quickly.
So there's a third category of guys that I would say the vast majority of guys fall into. This is where almost every single guy I talk to who asks for advice, those guys fall into this category. And these are guys that are just addicted to learning. Okay, you don't have to necessarily be in one or the other. It could be a combination of both. But a lot of guys are just addicted to learning. And they feel
addicted to information.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it. Not really learning, because if you're learning, you're applying.
Right.
Addicted to getting information constantly, because they think if they get a certain amount of information, eventually they can skip the implementing part and just get to the results. But that's not how it works.
Gaining knowledge is a really weird thing, because when you're gaining knowledge, even though you're not applying it or implementing it, people feel like they're improving. You know, they feel like they're getting something done when they learn how to pick up girls, but they don't actually use it. And although it does help a lot, you know, you can watch other people do it and learn from that. If you don't apply it, at one point you're actually going to become worse. You fall into what we call analysis paralysis.
That happens very quickly. Do not underestimate. It's not like if you learn or gain a bunch of knowledge over the span of a month, you're okay. I would say if you're not going out and implementing things and you're constantly trying to gain knowledge, you're fucked very quickly.
So there was this one time where I used to fall into this category too. I spent when I say I went out for like 6 years, that's when I started going out. There were a good 2 years before that where I was just reading books.
Yeah, same here.
Memorizing like routines, memorizing lines, and then just not doing anything. Like a good 2 years where I was just reading and nothing else.
So you've been aware of this stuff for about 8 years.
Yeah. I think even more than that. But let's say 8 years. Okay. I'll tell you what happened when I first went out. So one day, for 2 years, I was just gathering up the courage, and I told myself, one day I'm going to have the courage to go out and just do it, okay? And one of these days, after 2 years, I actually did get that because various things happened, personal problems. I was like really depressed, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go out. So I got myself to go out one way or another. And what happened was I had all of this knowledge in my head. I knew exactly what to do step by step according to this guy who called himself like a dating guru. I knew exactly what to do step by step, and I had it memorized. Okay, so I knew literally everything there was to know at the time. And this is what happened. I walked around my school, my college, and I looked for girls to approach. And I had all these things I'm going to say and how I'm going to get the number, how I'm going to ask them out on the date. But the problem is, I couldn't even approach one girl. There were many times. I did this about 3-4 times. I just walked around by myself hoping to pick up girls that I met randomly. There was not... I only did probably one approach in those 4 times. And each time I walked around for a good 2 hours doing nothing.
This is a very familiar story to me, too, because I did the exact same thing. And I think a lot of guys do this. They just walk around when they first start and they don't approach. And they just think, they walk around thinking, okay, if I think about this enough, eventually I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, so I think that was the point where I realized, wow, learning this stuff and just having the information is completely different than actually applying it.
Yeah, the way I see it is like if someone were to, let's say, read through a football playbook, they can learn all the plays, but if they never actually go through and run the plays, they're not going to know how it's done. They're not going to know how to catch a football. They're not going to know how to do the route. So when they're out there on the field for the very first time, they're going to be nervous. Inside, when you go out there and you try to meet girls, you're going to be nervous because you've never done it before. So it's just exactly like the guy who has learned so much material from this playbook, who goes out there to try to catch a football, his legs are going to be shaking. He's not going to know what to do. So
it's completely
the only way that he can learn is by going out there and trying. Reading this book over and over, learning exactly what the route is, learning exactly what to say to these girls isn't going to help you.
I always give this example on boot camp. Let's say you're trying to learn how to ride a bike, and you read a book on how to ride a bike, okay? Or even how to dance, how to tango. And there's no pictures whatsoever. So you're reading this book on how to ride a bike. It says, put your hands on the handlebars.
Even through our pictures.
Yeah, even with pictures. And then have one leg up and push with that leg. And then as it comes down to a 90-degree angle, push on the other leg. If it's explaining, that wasn't a bad explanation, but let's say it explained it exactly like how you're supposed to do it. There's no possible way that when you first ride that bike, you're going to know exactly how to do it.
Yeah,
There's no possible way.
It's logically explaining something that's supposed to be kind of intuitive.
And it's impossible to get good by just getting the information. And the information is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not supposed to replace experience. It's supposed to be a supplement.
But if you read a book on, let's say, bike tricks after you've been riding a bike, it's a lot easier to try out those tricks once you know how to actually ride.
Yeah, once you've been through the trial and error of how to ride, then that makes sense.
And when I'm telling you about these 3 categories of guys that exist, don't think that you're going to be stuck in one group forever. Like for me, I started in the group that was addicted to information. I was just reading books all the time. And eventually, I started going out more, and I became part of that second category that wasn't really seeing that much improvement because I didn't know how to get the best out of this information that I've learned. And I've been stuck in that first phase for so long that I had analysis paralysis for a very long time. And then when I figured out how to do it efficiently, when I figured out how I can best use this information and grow exponentially, that's when I became a part of that third group, where you're just learning new thing after new thing after new thing, and it's almost hard to plateau at that point if you know what you're doing. Okay, so let's answer the question of how do people get good? I think people understand that it's hard to just go out there, and a lot of people are discouraged by the fact that either they're not seeing improvement right away or they're not seeing improvement fast enough.
Or actually, there's a third category. They think they're the exception, where they get a certain amount of information and they'll be good. So if you fall into those 3 categories, then I think this podcast is going to potentially change the way you think about things.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a secret on how we got good really, really fast. At around the 2 to 3 year mark, I don't know what it was exactly, we found out a system, essentially, a magic pill, if you would like to call it, to get good really, really fast.
Yeah, things that would take you normally. I mean, we just said 2 to 3 years. That's what happened with me, at least, because it was a very long time before I realized that this was the way to improve quickly. It took me 2 years to do what I did in just a couple months after I realized what to do.
You know, if you guys actually utilize this secret, I can guarantee that your dicks will be covered in pussy juice. And that's the thing, like, because it's so simple too.
What it is you have to go out for 30 days in a row.
This
This is what we figured out, and it might seem very, very simple, like, oh my god, go out 30 days in a row, obviously, but you don't understand how much more you grow from going out 30 days in a row. I'm not talking about 30 days spread out in the course of a year. I'm talking about in a row, day after day, not missing even one day.
We're not saying some ridiculous number like 60 days or 100 days. We're just saying go out for 30 days in a row, and you will change the course of your life.
And for those of you that are thinking, oh, it's still only 30 days, well, have you ever gone out 30 days in a row? No. So what the fuck? Why are you questioning it yet?
Yeah. I mean, if you were part of the guys, if you're a guy who's in the first group where you're just learning really fast and you know exactly what to do right when we tell you or right when you watch our videos, you're probably already doing this already. Anytime someone tells me I was like a virgin and, I watched your videos for like a couple months and I just started getting laid left and right, I was like, you went out every single day, didn't you?
Or you went out most days.
Yeah. For those 60 days until you got laid, you went out like a good 80 to 90% of it, huh?
I can't think of a single example of someone coming up to us and saying that they've been going out watching our videos and it's been helping a lot and they've been succeeding. I can't think of a single example of someone who did not say that they've also been going out a lot. That just goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah, and we're not saying you have to go out 30 days in a row for 4 hours every day. Everyone thinks that at night, at least, you have to go from 10, which is when the clubs open, to 2 o'clock, and in the U.S. at least, which is when the clubs close. And you don't have to do that. I understand that people have really busy schedules. You have work, you have school, whatever you do. You don't have to go for 4 hours in a row. You can go for 30 minutes, an hour. If you're really, really busy, at the very least, talk to 1 or 2 girls. If you're actually very, very busy. My friend is an investment banker who works 70 to 80 hours a week. Okay, that's the average. Or, that's the usual. Minimum is 60. Like, there's no week where he works under 60 hours. He still goes and talks to at least 1 girl a day. At the very least, he always tries to talk to 1 girl a day, and that's his goal. And he always does that. So if he's working 80 hours a week and he's still doing that, I think anybody can do that. Unless you're working
two full-time jobs. So unless you have a better excuse than that.
If you're doing 2 iBanking jobs, then okay, maybe you have an excuse there. But for 99% of people, you have no excuse to not go out every day.
Yeah, and the thing about going out every day is every day that you go out, it's not like a linear increase in your skill level. This is an exponential increase in how good you get. It's not you get 2 times better if you go 2 days in a row, 3 times better if you go 3 days in a row. No, you go out 3 days in a row, you're going to be 10 times better. You go out 4 days, it's going to be 15 times better. Obviously, those numbers aren't exact, but you get the idea.
I get the point. But
yeah, it's like going out for a whole year, okay? And let's say over the course of 6 months, you go out for 30 days. Versus over the course of a month, you go out for 30 days, which is every single day. You might think, oh, I'm getting the same amount of days, I'm getting the same amount of experience, so therefore, I don't really care. I'm down to wait 6 months because I'll get the same experience as if I went out every day for 30 days. But the fact is, you don't get the same amount of experience. It's exponential in growth. In fact, going out for 30 days in a row, I would say is better than going out 100 days over the course of...
Oh, way better.
Yeah, going out 100 days over the course of 2 years.
And the reason for this is
it's better than that.
If you go out in a row, what you're also doing on top of getting experience is you're creating a habit. And that is the key. You're creating a habit in terms of you approaching girls when you go out, you not even being anxious anxiety is kind of a habit if you think about it. If you go out and you're anxious, it's like I'm used to feeling anxious, so therefore I feel anxious. But once you keep going out and you keep putting yourself in that position, that anxiety starts to go away, and then not being anxious becomes a habit.
It makes it much easier to internalize something. And it doesn't even matter how good you are. I don't care if you've never approached a girl in your life, or you go out every single weekend and you've gotten laid. You get laid like every week. Going out 30 days in a row, no matter how good you are, is going to take your social skills dramatically higher.
Now let me give just one more example, just another analogy, because I know some people have never gone out, so they don't even know what it's like to go out, the fears of going out, the anxiety you feel, how you can progress faster or not. So just think about when you go to work out. Everyone has gone to the gym before, I'm guessing. You had PE class or whatnot. So if you were to go to the gym 30 days out of a year, spread apart in the year, you would not be as strong as if you worked out for 30 days in a row. So that's just a good analogy for the people who've never gone out. They can kind of get
that's with any skill. That's with any skill, not just working out. Think about learning an instrument or learning a language or learning how to cook. If you're practicing 30 days in a row versus 1 week a day for 30 weeks, you're for sure going to get better, way better by the end of the 30 days because you've done it every single day, and it gets internalized into your brain. Like it's a part of you now.
And there's a reason that you get better once you go out in a row. It's because you hit this God mode. And even when you're learning a skill like, let's say, cooking, you're not going to get into cooking God mode by cooking once a week. You're going to get into cooking God mode by putting yourself in the kitchen every single day. And the same thing goes with pickup. You're not going to get into a consistent God mode unless you do it every single day.
Oh, and I completely forgot. We should tell Hal about how we discovered this, because we're not just pulling this number out of our ass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
No, yeah.
Like, we're not just making up, hey, 30 days is a good amount of time. So
there's a reason we're not saying a different amount of days. 30 days is basically the time it takes to create a habit.
Yeah, and this has been shown by multiple studies. It takes 4 weeks to create a habit. And in our experience, how we discovered this was not from these studies. These studies came like afterward, and it just confirmed our experiences. But what we did was, before, when we really, really sucked, we went out for, I don't know, what was it, like 2 years?
Yeah, like once or twice a week.
Yeah, so we were doing it for like once or twice a week.
Once was the usual number. It wasn't. It was twice rarely.
Like, and I felt like a piece of shit. Every time you called me and said, hey, let's go out, I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, it was a huge event. It shouldn't have been an event, but in our minds, because it was only once a week, it was so rare, this was now an event. We are going out.
Yeah.
Strap in.
So one time, we were like, it was a 3-day weekend. The Monday was like a holiday, so we said, you know what, why don't we just try something crazy? Let's just go out three nights this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just to celebrate the 3-day weekend. So we went out for 3 days, and what we discovered was, on the third day, we actually wanted to go out more than usual, and we actually had more fun when we went out. So that spawned another idea that we got, which was, let's go out for 7 days in a row. Why don't we do that? Let's go out for 7 days, because if 3 days can make you feel like that, I wonder how much 7 days can do. So we did this thing called the 7-Day Challenge, when me and Jesse were on like a really creepy forum with other dudes that shared dating advice.
It's called a lair.
Yeah, it was a lair, and some really creepy shit happened in that lair, but we won't get into that. So we went on a 7-day challenge, and we went out every single day. And the rule was, you cannot make any excuses, no matter what. Even if you're sick, even if your fucking balls just got cut off, you cannot make excuses. You have to go out 7 days in a row, because we had this theory that if we did that, we would progress. Our learning curve would be decreased exponentially. Mm-hmm. So we did that, and I won't give you a synopsis of every day, but let me tell you what happened at the end, okay? So we had challenges for every day. Like the first day, just talk to everybody in the bar. Second day, try to get everyone's number. Third day, do this. And by the 7th day, our goal was to try to kiss every girl we talked to. And this is at a point where I've only kissed 2 girls in my life.
Yeah, we were complete newbies.
Yeah, I've only kissed 2 girls in my life, and one of the kisses were really bad, and and I kind of missed her lips, and then like she never talked to me again. The other one was a girlfriend I had in high school. So realistically, I only kissed like one girl. So the 7th day, I was in such a great state. I was in God mode, and there was this super hot girl I was talking to at this bar called Tapas, I think, in Irvine.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I just did. It's a long story, but I did this thing where I'd pull her to the side. It was like a little routine I had, and I made out with her. And this was the first makeout I've ever had approaching a random girl, from a random girl that I just met.
And she was gorgeous.
Yeah, she was like a solid 9.
Solid 9.
9 at the very least.
9.10324.
And it was funny too, because she was like, at one point, she was like, "Wow, you're a really bad kisser." We're in the corner, and I go, well, why don't you teach me how to do it? I'm just nervous as shit, you know. Like, why don't you teach me how to do it?
That's a sneaky little way to get some more makeout.
Yeah. So I thought I was so witty, but really, when I think back, I was up talking so much.
Like kind of like being needy.
Yeah, but she was cool with it, because she was like, poor guy. So anyway, she goes. She like gives me a step-by-step on how to make out, basically. She goes, all right, so first you got to do this with your lips. She holds my lips with her like hands. All right, like no, now let's try that. She kisses me. All right, here, now put some tongue into it. Be gentle.
She was coaching you.
Yeah. You're doing it a little bit too hard. And I'm getting coached by this hot 9.5 about how to 9.1074, yeah, right? And she's teaching me how to kiss. And I remember going back that day to my roommates, who I fucking hate now, and I was just like, dude, you guys. I never talked to them, by the way, because it was they're so weird.
Were they Craigslist roommates?
Yep, they were
Okay.
Craigslist roommates.
Yeah,
That's why.
those are the worst.
Yeah. So I went back and I was like, dude, you guys, I just got to make out. You know, completely sober. And I was that excited, because I was still in God mode, to the point where I was talking to these guys that I hated. That's how much.
You want us to like clap for you? Good job.
That's how high
You
of
talk
God
to people
mode I
you
was
hate.
in. Yeah. But I mean, the point is, those 7 days changed my whole perception of how I should get good at something.
I think in those 7 days, the amount that you progressed was more than the 2 years leading up to that.
Yeah, I had. We did it for 2 years, and I hadn't made out with a girl yet. Make out with a girl yet? Was that grammatically correct?
Made out.
Make out.
I think made out's fine.
Whatever.
Well,
I'm a fob. I'm English is my second language.
7
Give me
days.
a break.
7 days is awesome, but more importantly, 30 days is the
okay,
number we're
okay.
trying to hit.
Yeah. So
It took some time to realize.
Yeah.
So we started with 7.
Yeah, and we're like, okay, what if we went out for a whole month every single day? So we did that, and the results that we got from that were fucking. It was.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, like I can't even explain how much I improved in those 30 days.
Like every single day we did it, we were blowing our own mind. Like, wait a second, what? Yes, 2 weeks ago we were doing that, but now we're doing this. And I remember when we were going out for a very long time without going out days in a row, it would just be once a week or twice a week. We would go out with weird goals, like, okay, so tonight let's try to talk to like 10 girls, and then 2 months would go by. Okay, so tonight let's try to get one number. But then when we started going out every single day in a row, it's like, okay, so Monday, let's try to get 5 numbers. Tuesday, let's try to make out with 3 girls. Wednesday, let's try to pull a girl home. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy, because the results we were seeing, we had to match the goals to the results.
Okay, so for those of you that are trying to do the 30-day challenge, okay, which is what I highly recommend, there's some things to keep in mind. The first one is you always got to give yourself challenges every day. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily challenges that you have to accomplish. So we said, we actually didn't say try to get 10 girls' numbers. We actually said to ourselves, ask every single girl for her number. Because we felt one of the things that we saw in ourselves was we weren't asking girls for numbers, even though sometimes they were like really into us. That was one of our problems. So we said, all right, tonight we're going to work on that. Ask every single girl for her number and get over that fear. Mm-hmm. So we did that. And every single day we had these challenges that we had to work on. And the great thing about that is it gives you one thing to focus on. so that your mind's not all over the place, which is analysis paralysis.
Yeah, if you're focusing on more than one thing, maybe two, one thing a day is best. You're going to take longer to improve. You might think, okay, I'll work on these 3 things tonight, and that way I'll be 3 things better than I was yesterday. But you slow down your progress. We realized that was actually another realization of mine, that if I focus on one thing at a time, I got better than if I focused on multiple things at a time.
Yeah, don't cloud your mind. It's not worth it. You'll learn a lot faster just with one. We've gone through it. We've learned that 1 is the magic number.
Yeah. People get greedy. They get really greedy. They're like, I want to learn it all tonight.
That's what we do on boot camps too. We always give the first part of the boot camp is always approach every single girl you see. You need to get over that first, and you really have to be realistic in terms of your goals. You can't just go out if you've never talked to a girl in your life. You can't just go out and say, I'm going to try to make out with a girl tonight. If you've never approached one in your life, it's like how are you going to do that when you don't even know what to say, how to say it?
It's funny you say that because I remember a bootcamp student actually come up to me and saying, just teach me the next thing. I already know. I'm not afraid of talking to girls anymore. I was like, all right, talk to that girl then. He's like, well, all right. Well, I mean, I just teach me something else. Yeah, just like she's busy. She has a boyfriend with her. You see that guy? But it's like, okay, so you're not over that yet. So you need to get over that first.
So
before you
always
can move on.
give yourself a challenge. Start from the beginning and work your way up. Once you get comfortable with approaching, then start doing like transitions, saying weird things, then start getting comfortable and getting to know the girl, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, another important thing about these 30 days that you should keep in mind is writing a journal for yourself.
Oh, that's right.
And that's huge. Writing a journal, keeping your notes. This isn't for you to have a notebook of your stories just stroking your ego. You shouldn't be looking over this booklet and just jerking up. Oh my god, I just talked to 10 girls today and I got a number. And like this isn't about that.
Like,
what you should be
it's
actually
not meant for
writing
you
down,
to be bragging.
Exactly,
basically.
exactly. Because you want to actually write down your faults, your fails, when you got rejected, why you got rejected, and learn from it.
What you can improve on.
Exactly.
And the reason we say write a journal for yourself is a lot of people, especially when we were starting out, people were writing field reports, which is when you write on the forum and you write the whole story of what you did last night, and you put in stories that make you look really good, basically. So I remember when I wrote it, I was a little bit humble about it in terms of me. I always tried to ask questions because I actually wanted to improve, but I would say 70% of it was just me saying, "Look how great I did."
Or I remember your field reports, or you trying to make people laugh.
Yeah,
like
and
making fun of people, like in your field report.
Yeah,
talking about girls, like making fun of them.
And I would put like jokes in there I wanted it to be entertaining. So when you write for other people, that's what happens. Your ego gets in the way. But if you're writing for yourself and nobody else is going to see this, you start being honest with yourself, and you take all of that out. You're not trying to be funny. You're not trying to be entertaining. You're just writing it for the sake of getting better.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really important to keep a journal.
I mean, field reports are good and all, and I think there's a small handful of people that can actually separate their ego from what they're writing. But I would say even for those people, if they wrote a private journal, it would still be different. And I think it would be more reflective than if they had it public.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will put out 100% of what actually happened that night.
Okay, so the next thing is when you're doing the 30-day challenge, you cannot make any excuses when you're about to go out. Okay, when you're committing to 30 days, you have to commit to 30 days. I don't give a shit if you have a final due, if you're in school. I don't give a shit if your boss wants you to work all day, all night for a project that's coming up. Doesn't matter. Find time to go out. Even
what
if that
it's
means,
a holiday, though?
If it's a
more of a reason to go out.
When we did the 30-day challenge, there were times where we went to, I remember we had school. So the bars are the only place we can go because we had school in the day and we had to go out at night. And the bars were completely empty. There was like 3 fat girls there.
Yeah.
And we said, fuck it, we're going and we're talking to these fucking fatties. That's what we said. There's no excuses. There's some days where it was a holiday and the malls were closed, so we had to like improvise and just go somewhere random.
Like a crosswalk.
Yeah, just like a busy crosswalk and just talk to old ladies. It doesn't matter. 30 days in a row, you have to put in 100%.
So basically what you're
no
saying
excuses.
is anywhere you go, anywhere you are, there will be a place where there are females that you can talk to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, if you walk around for like 2 hours and you don't find a single female, I'd say you can call it quits. But
There are very
yeah,
few places
yeah.
on this planet
If
that
you're
have
in
that.
like Antarctica and you're the only one living there and you're listening to this and you're trying to do the 30-day challenge, okay, you maybe have an excuse. But anywhere else in the world, you don't have a fucking excuse to not go out. People are like, oh, I can't do 30 days because I don't have enough time. That's bullshit.
That is the most bullshit
That's
excuse.
such bullshit.
You know, one thing I've realized about people saying that is, it's for one, it's bullshit, and two, if you say that, you just don't want it badly enough.
Yeah.
You don't want to actually do this, because if you did, you would make time. If someone wants something bad enough, they will make time even if there is none.
Yeah, and if you have really thrown your ego out the window, it shouldn't matter what race they are. These are excuses that I've heard too: race, age, weight, height, status, the way she looks.
One of my favorite ones is I'm not dressed properly right now.
Oh, even on their own about themselves.
And I'm so cringy about that one because I've used that excuse in the past, and I was like, I had to snap myself out of it. Wait, what the fuck? I'm wearing slippers, and I'm using that as an excuse not to go.
I mean, but you do have hairy feet. So
Yeah,
maybe
that-
it's-
Oh,
probably a good excuse,
one
yeah.
of the days for the 30-day challenge, that's what happened,
That
too.
is one of the challenges.
We were like, no, well, I don't know if that was a challenge. I think we just went out when we were looking shitty. We're like, dude, we didn't approach today. Fuck.
Yeah.
And we were just dressed up in like basketball shorts and a smelly, like wrinkly,
You know what's
stained shirt.
You know what's interesting about that? Every single time I've caught myself, because I'm using that as an excuse, I will do an approach or I'll talk to someone. It will go either better than usual or just as good as it normally does.
You know, I figured out why that works.
Please tell me.
Because when you're in that situation, you feel like you have nothing to lose.
There it is. Yeah,
You feel like
give
you
a
have
shit
nothing
less.
to lose, so you're just like, you know what, this is gonna fail. I might as well just have fun with it. And you go in having fun, and you're in this mindset that I don't give a shit because I know it's gonna fail, and that surprisingly actually works better.
So if you're not looking your best, your chances of succeeding are actually higher.
Yeah, it's really weird.
There's
how
something
this,
that you just
this
said,
stuff
Kong,
works.
that was really important, and that was the having fun factor. Most guys don't know that. They go out thinking it's a chore, thinking this is homework, like they have to do this, and they're not having fun. But you have to enjoy going out and talking to these girls, because if you're suffering through these days, why would you even want to do it?
Yeah.
And the way here's the reason people don't enjoy it, because at first it's kind of hard. At first it's a little bit difficult. There's a pain period in the very beginning, and people have trouble getting over that initial pain period. I would say, okay, if you're going out every single day, the first few days, well, how long would you say? If you're going out every single day, you're not really used to that. How long before you get to the part where, okay, this is just complete fun now?
It's hard to say. It's different for everybody, but according to what I've read and my own experience, it takes 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
I'd say 2 weeks is the maximum. For me, it just took like 5 or 6 days of me going out 100%.
it definitely gets
And then
easier every day.
Yeah, it gets much, much easier. But I'd say, okay, 2 weeks is when you can start having fun with it. Your brain sort of accepts this new atmosphere, this new person that's controlling it, I guess, and you start having fun with it.
Yeah. So this is why it takes 4 weeks to create a habit. Okay. The first 2 weeks are going to be complete hell because you've never done this before. You're putting yourself in a position that you're not used to, you're not comfortable with. And it's very comfortable to go back to your old lifestyle of playing video games or watching TV all the time.
Every fiber of your body is going to want to go back to that old lifestyle.
Yeah, and then this is the same with working out, especially for me, because before I used to have a really hard time working out and exercising, and I would always be like on and off because I couldn't get past those first 2 weeks. But when someone told me this, my whole mindset changed. So the first week I would work out and I'd be like, okay, this is good, whatever, I'm getting healthy, but I feel like shit, I'm sore, I can't do this anymore, I'd rather be home playing video games. And then the second week I'll be like, I got homework today, I got a quiz tomorrow, so I'm not going to do it. But don't worry, I'll make up for it because I'll use one of my rest day on the weekends to work out. And what happens when you skip a day, and this is why it's so important to go every single day without skipping it, no excuses. If you skip a day, you're going to start skipping days, and then you're going to just put yourself in this position where you start snowballing downward, and next thing you know, you're just back to where you started. So the first 2 weeks are always going to be shitty. It's going to feel like you're going to feel like, why the fuck am I doing this? I would rather be at home playing video games. But if you go past those first 2 weeks,
Just push. You have to force yourself to push through it, knowing that once you do, you'll be fine.
yeah, once the third week starts, you start feeling like this is actually not that bad. It's normal, you know? And it's not going to take that much effort for you to go out anymore. It's not going to take that much effort for you to lift those weights as it was for me. And then by the fourth week, you start actually enjoying it. You start thinking, this is actually pretty fun. I like doing this.
And when you don't do it, you feel like shit. You're like,
Yeah.
oh man.
It's like it's a part of your life
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
Like right now, if I don't work out 5 days a week, I feel like a piece of shit. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's almost like I lost $1 million. If I miss one day of working out, it's like I lost $1 million. That's how it feels like, because I've made it a part of my life so deeply that I just can't let go of it. And that's what happens when you do it for 4 weeks in a row. That's how you feel. And that's why it's so important to do it, because you make it a part of your life. And it's so important to you that if you don't do it, you feel like shit.
And also, what happens after you get to that point where you're actually having fun with it, it's way, 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 way easier to learn. If you're learning something and you're not enjoying learning it, then it's going to be a lot harder to learn it. Bottom line, you're going to have a difficult time getting better if you're not enjoying something.
Yeah, so just to recap real quick, I'd say if you're going to even attempt these 30 days, you're going to want to set some goals for yourself. You're going to want to keep a journal daily. Have no excuses, because you now know that it takes 4 weeks to create a habit, and there really is no excuse not to go out, and you need to have fun with this. And the reason I want to just recap on this is because once I learned this, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life, because I went out for 30 days straight, and that was the first time I've ever made out with a girl in public. Not the first time I ever made out. Yeah, the first time I made out with a girl at a bar. And also the first time I've ever pulled a girl home. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen to you. I'm not saying you're going to go out for 30 days and you're going to pull a girl home for the first time. But for me, that's what this 30-day program for me resulted in.
Yeah, I still remember this too. We were going to, where was it, Vegas?
That's Vegas.
Yeah, we were going to Vegas, and you were telling, because we took Jason under our wing, and we wanted him to get good very quickly. And he got good much faster than Kong and I, because he was going out a lot from the beginning, versus Kong and I, we spent a couple of years just fucking around and going out once a week, which completely wasted our time.
You know what's funny? There were times where we would just go out once a week, and then one of those days, I remember the specific day where we went out with like 10 other dudes from the forum, and we went to some club, and we just like stood there dancing with each other in a circle. You remember that?
Yeah.
we literally went out with 10 guys who said, hey guys, let's go out to pick up girls. And we went to this high-end club, and we just stood in a circle at the...
I kind of like bobbing our knees in our heads.
Yeah, we're like, dude, we're getting into God mode.
You guys are probably all just talking amongst each other.
Oh, yeah.
All of you had drinks in your hands.
Yeah. we were like, well, we didn't have drinks, but
we actually, like, that was the one thing we never really did. We didn't have, like, alcohol. We just always had water in our hands.
Yeah,
okay, so you had something blocking you between you and the girl.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we would just talk about theory and game, and like, dude,
But you know what?
that girl right there, if she didn't have a boyfriend, I'd totally approach her.
If we were in the middle of a 7-day, 30-day, any sort of simultaneous day challenge, we would have never accepted that. Even if we went out with 10 dudes and they were all just doing that, I feel like we would have never accepted people doing that, because we were already in God mode.
Yeah.
And
Well, no, that's what happened when I made out with that blonde girl.
Yeah.
People were, I don't know what it was with this group and like dancing with each other, but they were literally in a circle, and I was still in that circle too. Okay, but I pulled this girl into that circle and was dancing with her. Remember that?
Yeah,
and then I pulled her to the
How
side.
do I remember this? This is
Yeah, and
ridiculous.
then I pulled her to the side. But that's what happens. Even if when you reach that point at the 7-day, 14-day, however long it takes you, you get into God mode, and you just nothing else even matters. You know,
Yeah.
Even though I was hanging out with like 9 other dudes who were just so into dancing with dudes, I was like, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna make out with this girl.
God, I'm so glad I didn't meet you guys back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, Jason, he never really got to experience
Oh,
that
yeah,
part. It was
that's
just
right.
it was just him going out a bunch of days in a row because that we told him this is if you want to actually get good at this is what you have to do, and he took that to heart right away. And we were going to go to Vegas, and
That was the last few days, and that was like the prize for me. Like I was working these 30 days so that I can go to Vegas and have fun.
yeah, and this was literally his first time going out, pretty much. Not Vegas. I mean, that 30-day was
Yeah.
very near the beginning.
But like the Vegas trip was so easily comparable because there's a dramatic difference between how I talked to girls when I first went to Vegas and after I talked to girls for like 27 days in a row and pulled the girl the first night I met her.
Yeah.
And that girl actually had a boyfriend too.
Yeah,
Come
she
to
did.
think
Yeah,
of it.
we
yeah.
have this on video. By
Yeah,
the way.
we do.
We haven't released it yet because we're waiting to see what we can use this for. But one day it'll be out. We have everything on video. Just remember, blonde girl, Vegas. I was in a suit winging you.
Yeah. I mean,
with that fat beast, and dude, she actually wanted. I was about to. I really think she wanted me, and I was about to let her give me a hand job too when we were back
hold
at
on.
the hotel.
Let me
that's
just
right.
clarify.
Oh.
I was very unclear what you were saying. So Kong is winging this fat beast, and Jason is with his hot blonde girl. And Kong, being a great wingman, was actually considering letting this monster touch his dick in the name of being a good wingman.
Yeah,
right?
my rule is this. My rule is this. I won't have sex with a really gross girl. Or who knows, maybe. But usually I won't have sex with a really gross girl. But if it's necessary for my wingman to get laid, I will get a hand job.
all right, let's be real here. I was in the bedroom already. They weren't even doing anything. He could have just sat on the couch with them with this fat chick. She already knew what was going on.
How far
What?
how far did she get with you?
No, we didn't even make out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't even make out.
How far did she get though? Like, what was like? What was the
We-
point where you said,
we were-
"Okay, slow down"?
We were
there.
sitting on the bed, and she leaned into me really, really close to talk. You know how we're saying, like, when you're talking to a girl, you should always be an inch away from her face? She was gaming me. She was doing that to me. And I was like, whoa. Let's slow this down now. Because Jason was already in the room with the other girl. And this girl was cool with it, so.
Anyway,
But how was your ass though?
Her ass?
Yeah.
It was... If you've ever played Pokemon, it was comparable to a Snorlax. Yeah.
That's really funny.
At the very least, a Jigglypuff.
Just getting back to the topic. This was actually the reason why I was so I feel so strongly about the 30 days because of what happened, because of how eye-opening this experience was for me.
you kind of realized getting into God mode was basically the cheat code, right?
Oh yeah,
So
easily.
so we had this Vegas trip planned, and Jason was like, "Wait, so why don't I just get in? We're going to Vegas. I mean, Vegas doesn't happen all the time. I want to have fun there. I want to be in God mode when I get to Vegas." So you decided to do a challenge
To get into God
and the
mode
end
for
of the challenge was going to be
Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it worked, of course.
Like, what are your guys' reasons? I mean, I know what my reason is. Like, what's your reason, Kong?
For what?
For like,
going
why?
on
Why
30
do you,
days?
Yeah, like what?
Well, my reason is because here's when I do the 30 days, okay? I still do it to this day. Sometimes I would get caught up in school and all this stuff, and I would just not go out that much, and I would have kind of like a plateau. Or maybe I don't know. I had like a dry spell, right? So when I had that dry spell where I didn't get laid for a certain amount of time, usually it was like, a month or two, I would actually do two things. First, I wouldn't jerk off for 30 days. Or I wouldn't jerk off.
That was the first 30-day challenge.
Well, I wouldn't jerk off until I got laid, okay? So that's number one. Number two is I would go out every single day in a row until I got laid. And every single time it's worked. At
And
first,
I still remember what we called that too. We would call it like the 30-day or lay challenge. Yeah,
I didn't get laid because we were
working
working so hard, and I was like, I don't have time for this. So I didn't get laid for like a good month. I was like, wow, I need to have my penis in a vagina. So I said, I'm going to stop jerking off, and I'm going to keep going out every single day until I get laid. And it only took less than 14 days. It was like, I remember I started on a Wednesday, and I got laid the second Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just what it does. Basically, if you can snap your fingers and get into God mode, then you can go out and most likely get laid. But what going out days in a row does is it just puts you into God mode. So let's say you're on day, like Kong, he was on day 12. He was in God mode. He could go out and then get laid because he was now in that state of mind.
So the point is, you have to do a 30-day challenge if you want to get really good really fast. And you have to go out for 30 days in a row, nonstop.
Yeah, like we said earlier, 30 days is what creates a habit, and that fixes problems. It's not like you're just kind of getting over the problem during the 30 days. Even months after the 30-day challenge, you still fixed the problems that you had initially.
It's a part of you now.
It's a habit.
It's internalized, yeah. But the problem is some people, it's hard, and I know this coming from this mindset too. It's hard for people to do stuff, no matter how much we tell them, no matter how logical you get, no matter how many reasons you give. It's hard for people to go out and actually do this, especially by themselves. You know, and
it's because it's scary. Like, we know this from first-hand experience. It is fucking scary.
Yeah. And one of the projects that we've been working on in the past few months that we're really, really proud of because it gets people to take action is what we call Simple 30. Now, before I get to that, as I was saying earlier, we've stopped doing boot camps because we just don't have the time and we can't reach as many people as we want.
Yeah, I mean, when we stopped doing boot camps, since then till now, we've gotten literally thousands of requests in our inbox from people around the world saying that they want to take a boot camp.
And a boot camp is a really amazing thing because everybody who came on our boot camp has emailed us updates on their life, how it is. One person, I shouldn't say his name, but he just emailed us saying, dude, you guys, thank you. So this is a year later, okay? Thank you so much. I've been going out. He's been giving us updates now and then, but he gave us like a really long essay recently saying that he just got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And like he's super happy. She's like the best girl that he could ever find.
And leading up to him getting the girlfriend was just like a crazy adventure of a year. He just transformed the way he lived his life, and that's what a boot camp does. It can a lot of the time it can be the difference between a guy never getting good and just giving up because he doesn't see the light. He doesn't see how this can be easy and how to actually implement what he learns. It can be a difference between someone who just never gets good and someone who gets very, very fucking good.
So we put our heads together and we spent months and months trying to come up with a way, basically, that where we could continue to do boot camps, but reach more people. Okay, so the idea kind of came from Project Go a while back. We've given challenges on Project Go before, where we show them the whole video, explain the lesson for the day, and then we say, all right, today, go out and do this. And people really, really liked that. People were like, we need more of this. Mm-hmm. So we found that people not only need to learn things, but they need to be pushed to do it too. They need to have that motivation to actually do something with that information that they've learned.
And sometimes all they need is just that initial push. And then they're on the right path after that. They're like, oh, okay, this is possible because I was pushed.
Yeah, they just kind of need, it's not even like a push, it's just like a little nudge. But I mean, Simple 30 is like a huge push.
It's a kick in your ass.
Yeah. But really, all you need is a little nudge. For example, when I was getting pretty overweight one time, and I didn't really notice it, but I went home to visit my mom after like 3 months, and she was like, "Kong, you're getting kind of chubby." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, "Wow, I am getting kind of fat." And all I needed was that one line to get me to start working out again.
Yeah.
So really, all you need is that nudge. But what we've created with Simple 30 is more than just a nudge. It's literally a kick in the ass. So
it's basically an online 30-day boot camp. We've done boot camps in the past for 3 days, but this is now an online 30-day, very intensive boot camp where we kick your ass and force you to do things. We basically force you to do the things that you're afraid to do, and then you'll come out on the other side being a much better overall confident person.
And I know a lot of you are thinking, wait, if you already did challenges in Project Go, why don't you just continue doing challenges? But we thought of that. And what we came to the conclusion of is if we gave you one challenge a week, that's not enough. That's not going to solve any of your problems.
Yeah, because the 30-day thing, every single day, is extremely important. Like once a week is not enough. So
Exactly.
with Simple 30, every single day you're going to get a new challenge. And the way we set this up is we've structured these challenges on things we've actually used on boot camps in the past.
And not only boot camps, but these challenges have been filtered through years and years of trial and error.
Yeah, we've had crazy challenges in the past.
I was laughing because of what I'm thinking
Yeah,
about.
no. I remember that when we did the 30-day challenge, one of the days was try to get a hand job in the club. So that's not
Wait,
good.
but you succeeded with that, though.
Well, I have succeeded with that. But that's not going to be one of the challenges in Simple 30. You know, we've structured. So that was like an outrageous one where it was kind of just for fun, just kind of to make us laugh.
Yeah.
But with Simple 30, we've structured it so that it's actually beneficial and it actually helps.
There's a goal too with the entire 30 days. It's not, like Kong said, get a hand job in the club. But with these challenges, we've structured it so that if you continuously go out and do these challenges and apply it and internalize it, you'll go out by the end of these 30 days knowing how to leave your house and get a date with a random person, a random female.
Let's go back to the whole workout analogy. When you're working out, everybody knows that if you want to get buffed, if you want to get buff, if you want to get ripped, you have to work out, right? But the question is, how do you work out? What do you do? What exercises do you do? And if you go to the gym every single day and do it on your own, yeah, you'll get fit, but you're not going to do it efficiently. So if you go to the gym and you're working out like every single muscle in your body every single day, that's not an efficient way to work out because, you need recovery. You're going to be tired by the time your third muscle group hits. It's like there's so many things that you have to take into consideration that you might not necessarily know because you haven't experienced or even learned about that. Mm-hmm. So that's what Simple 30 is. We create a structure. We tell you what to do, when to do it, and why it's important to do it in that order.
And not only do we just tell you why, we actually do it with you. We'll show you a video of how to do it, how we did it, and how to make it fun.
And by that, he means you'll see us actually do the challenge every single day. We're not just, that's one thing that I really hate when, it's my least favorite teaching method, when people teach you without actually showing you. But as you guys know, with everything that we do, we show you how it's done first before we tell you to do it. We're never going to tell you to do something that we haven't done and shown you that we've done.
And I really like the fact that we do that because it shows you a lot of things. It shows you one, especially for Simple 30, where we do the challenges with them. It shows them that when it's possible to do, there's some challenges where if you're not really confident in yourself.
Yeah, you would read that and think, no fucking way.
You're going to be like, that's not going to work. What are you talking about? But we show you how it's possible and how you can do it so that you're giving off a fun vibe. Also, we show you some failures too. It's not going to, as I said earlier, the point is not to succeed every single time. The point is to just try it. So you're going to see us fail. And I think a lot of times when people see us fail, they think, oh, these guys are normal people too. Yeah. And that's a normal thing to fail.
Yeah,
to get rejected.
One thing that I've learned from Project Go feedback and even YouTube is people get encouraged when they see us fail because they realize, oh, they're not invincible. They're like me. They're just a normal person. And yeah, that's the truth. We're just a normal person just like you, and we fail just like you.
And how we have fun with these rejections, you can also have fun with these rejections.
Yeah, dude, failing's fun.
Yeah, you just have to teach yourself to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And these challenges aren't meant just for newbies. I mean, we have something that we added to it, which is called the Super Challenge, and that's meant for the intermediate to advanced.
Yeah, so, and we do the Super Challenge
to
show you how it's done.
Yeah, so there's kind of two tracks you can take. One is for beginners / really, really new people who haven't talked to girls much in their life. And then the other track, Super Challenges, is for people who kind of know what they're doing, but they want a better challenge.
Yeah.
And I think the most important part of this is it shows that we actually can do these challenges, and these are challenges that we still use to this day.
Yeah,
and it really shows in these videos because we're basically proving that it works, and we can actually do it, and we've done it.
Yeah, like I want them to know that these are realistic challenges, not just something that we made up on the spot for them to do. These are actually attainable
things that we've not only gotten bootcamp students to do, but that we do ourselves to this day. And I always think about. It's weird how people buy into stuff that there's no credibility behind. When you read a dating book, let's say, or a dating article, how do you know that guy is legit? How do you know that he's actually doing what he tells you to do?
There's so many. I mean, the things that are so popular are on newsstands, those magazines, those men's magazines, where they have tips of how to do certain things and like these 10 best tips to get laid today.
Yeah, how to pick up a girl in a club. It's like,
how do you what?
You know that guy has never picked up a girl in the club in his life. He doesn't have anything about it.
Just some dude sitting behind a
think
computer.
about it like this. Think about it like this. If you see a fat guy selling a workout DVD, okay, and workout DVDs are great. I bought P90X and Insanity, and it was fucking amazing. It lost me so much weight. But if you saw something like that, and it was a fat guy running that program, and some fat guy saying, "Hey, buy my DVD, and you're gonna lose so much weight, and you're gonna be so ripped," are you actually are you gonna do that? Are you gonna trust
I
that?
would hope not.
He knows what he's talking about. If you go to a dentist and that dentist never shows you his teeth, are you going to trust that dentist to work on your teeth?
Nah.
No thanks.
Probably not. I sure hope not.
It was rhetorical, so I mean, like, you're looking at me like you want to hear me say no. So
right, but it's like, why would you go to these stupid websites and think that people know what they're talking about when they say 5 tips to make a girl attracted to you in the first 5 minutes, when they have no proof whatsoever that works?
Yeah.
So that's why we're extremely we love putting out videos of ourselves doing it, because it makes it credible.
And
it shows you that it's possible.
It's easy to say you should just be motivated by yourself, but the truth is, shit is a lot easier if you see someone else doing it first, and that's just the bottom line.
yeah. And lastly, we actually integrated a journal, which you can write in every day, keep notes, write what you did right, and write about what you did wrong. It's actually integrated into the site itself, so that's really convenient. So this Simple 30 is basically the complete package of you being able to have goals that you don't even have to think about. We already made these goals for you. You can keep a journal for every day that you go out. You have no excuses, because we show you videos of us actually doing the normal and super challenges. And of course, we teach you how to have fun with it.
Whether you're deciding to be a part of Simple 30 or not, going out 30 days in a row is going to change your life dramatically.
I can't even stress how fucking dramatically
It's exponential. Mm-hmm. We've said it many, many times. It's exponential.
You know, we've kind of talked about this beforehand. We said 30 days is going to shave off X amount of time. And I think we said 6 months, but I really think it's a lot more than 6 months. So like Hong was saying, if you're going out 30 days in a row, you are fixing a lot of your problems and you're changing the course of your life.
One of the flaws of Project Go is that at the end of the day, it's just theory. It's just theory unless you use it. It's at the end of the day, it's just us telling you what you should be doing rather than you actually doing it. And you're just a spectator in Project Go. So you get all this information, and it's really good information that you should use. But as I said in the survey results, a lot of people aren't using it. So you can watch all the Project Go videos you want, but if you're not taking action to go out and meet new women, the information you're learning is just completely useless.
In fact,
it's worthless.
If you're going out and actually doing it, the value you get out of Project Go is just an infinite amount more. It's so much more valuable if you're actually doing it, because you understand what we're saying. You can completely relate to what we're doing.
Yeah, and you can't watch guitar tutorials and think that you're going to be a rock star the next day. You can't watch Tony Horton do P90X and expect to be super buff the next day. You know, like, it's not possible. You actually have to watch it, and then you have to do it. So what makes you think that just because you watched us pick up girls today, that you can know how to do it tomorrow? That's impossible.
It's just not going to happen.
And I think people, it's weird, because I think people think that they can just learn and learn and learn, and one day when that perfect 10 walks by, their perfect girl, okay, they'll have all this information in their head, and they're going to be able to win this girl over. They're going to be able to gather up everything they've learned and then get this girl.
Execute the perfect program.
But I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is not how it works. What's going to happen when your perfect 10 walks by is you're going to choke because you don't have that experience under your belt. You're going to choke because you filled your head with all of these pickup tips that you have no idea how to use. And you're going to choke because at the very best, you're going to get to be this girl's best friend, this girl's gay best friend, and you're going to waste month after month after month trying to win her over, and you're going to be unsuccessful because you don't know how to do it.
You don't have the proper experience, the reference experience.
And I think even if that happens, you're going to let this girl... Think about it like this. Okay, you're going to let this girl, who is the potential future mother of your kids, walk away with another guy, all because you were too busy, quote unquote, to implement what you've been learning. Because you didn't put in the time to practice what you've been learning. You're going to meet this one girl who's really, really cool and extremely compatible with you. You're going to throw that out the window because you don't know how to handle it.
And you're saying they might throw it away because they're being too busy, but also I think they're just being pussies.
Yeah.
That is a high possibility. Like you can make the excuse of, I was at work so I couldn't go out, but also once you walk out of your business, wherever you're working, and a hot girl walks by, that's you being a pussy. You're not busy anymore. You're just walking your car. You have no excuse, and she just walked away with the kids that would have made your baby the inner ovaries.
It's so funny how people think. It's so funny how people think that. They think they're going to learn all this stuff and just magically get these magic powers to seduce any girl they want one day. That day's never going to come. So right now, it's up to you. Whether you end up being sad and lonely in the future, that's completely up to you. So what we're saying is 30 days will change your life. And at one point, you have to stop learning, you have to stop thinking, and you have to start doing. Now, if you're someone who can do this on your own, you should probably do it as soon as possible. Not probably, you should do it as soon as possible. Go out for 30 days in a row, log your progress in a journal, give yourself challenges every day, and work on different parts of your game throughout these 30 days.
But what we've found is that a lot of people need to be pushed in order to do a 30-day challenge. They just need someone there to initially kick their ass so they can get the ball rolling. And that's why we created something called Simple 30.
So Simple 30, just to give you a brief overview, is basically an online boot camp that we created based on our real boot camps that we used to hold in the past. So we used to have these boot camps where we charged thousands of dollars and sold out every single weekend. Like, we literally could not keep up with the demand. So that's why we took that structure, that boot camp structure, and turned it into a 30-day online program.
In short, every day of the program, you'll get a new challenge that gets progressively harder. Every challenge will help you drastically improve some aspect of your game.
Listen, Simple 30 is not a cheap program. You know why? Because we don't want to deal with people that aren't serious. That's the bottom line. We don't want to deal with people that are just going to dabble in this. There are people who sign up for Project Go because they want to improve their life just a little bit. And they get into it to fix a small problem. And that's completely fine. Simple 30 is not for those people. Simple 30 is for people that want a total transformation. It's for the people who joined and want to go from being totally unhappy to taking massive action to be fulfilled and happy. Again, that's not everyone. If you're listening to this and you're not someone who wants massive change, then don't get Simple 30. Seriously. But if you're someone who's frustrated and if you're someone who's hit a wall, I promise Simple 30 will change your life. It will be one of the most important investments you'll ever make in your life. Period. Also, I want to give you my personal guarantee on this. Some people are thinking, oh, there's no way I can, and even after listening to this podcast, they're going to think, there's no way I can improve that drastically in 30 days. So here's what I'm going to guarantee. Go out, first of all, and buy a $15 recorder, a voice recorder, super cheap. Record yourself every single day during Simple 30. And at the end of 30 days, at the end of those 30 days, after every challenge, if you feel like you haven't changed drastically in terms of your skills with women, I will personally give you a refund out of my own pocket. Just email us the audio files that you recorded so we know you actually did the challenges, and you'll get a refund literally from my bank account, no questions asked.